Welcome back. We are live. Round 2 is going to start very soon. How did you like round 1?
I mean, I couldn't like it more. I mean, that's why we do this, because like double armadillo cloak in one game, that was just too good to be true.
Yeah.
In the end, of course, like probably better deck won. I hate to say it, but I think Roman. It was a good fight.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm quite happy. I hope he'll do well in the next rounds. And
yeah. It's kind of a pity that the Goblin deck has answers to the Armadillo Cloak. And like as I think somebody said during the match, that if it's just Flesh Reaver, then all the Goblin player has to do is just jump like every turn and deal 4. It's like almost a Goblin Grenade a turn. It's not, you can't attack that long without the Armadillo Cloak. But I liked it as well. And we had a sneak peek at the deck lists. We have some really spicy brews as well. This round we're gonna go back to something a little bit more usual. Although when you look at this,
when I look at this, I feel like, why are we even here? What are we doing? Let's just call it off.
You big fan of the modern only frame decks?
I mean, credit to Filip. He could have it mismatched. He could also have the cards mismatched, and maybe then I would bleed even more right now. But no, of course. I mean, jokes aside, it's perfectly fine. Like play whatever you like, whatever version
I agree.
You want. There's no problem.
Part of the format. Like it's a bit of a trolling, I feel sometimes.
Sometimes,
like
yes.
From the world specifically, copies that are hard to get, but they are more.
One of my friends, he plays goblins and he has them mismatched and all new versions. So
okay, that's the trolling.
Sometimes I don't even know if it's like a matron or what is that.
Yeah. So, but we are off to a start in game 1. Filip started with a Grim Lavamancer and Rishadan Port. Is that a Rishadan Port? Yes, that should be a Rishadan Port, right? And Fabian is on Tide Control. And when I say control and Stone Rain, these two words, usually they don't end up well for control players, right? Like control players don't like their lands being destroyed.
Exactly. But playing control decks like most of my Magic life, that
is a very aggressive play.
That's very aggressive.
So bounce your Lavamancer. Yeah, playing control decks.
Just say when playing control decks, like when you get to a certain threshold, when you have like the breathing space, like say of 2 turns, you play a lot of lands, right? Yeah. And unless you have some kind of a pressure, he typically runs out of cards. And if you are able to play some of your Fact or Fiction or something, then you can be fine, right? But I agree with what you're saying that
it's true that control decks, apart from needing a lot of lands, they also are usually good at drawing cards. So that should kind of
and eventually you run out of cards as the Ponza, and control can just if you don't have the pressure there and you give him 3-4 turns, then he will just draw some cards, right? He will draw some lands. So we will see. But so far, it's probably what Filip wanted.
No,
I guess.
I mean, Grim Lavamancer that trades for Mana Leak and Chain of Vapor. That is a good Grim Lavamancer, right?
Absolutely. Yes. I'm not so sure.
Wasteland your port. Okay.
Yes. But honestly, I'm not so sure about the Chain of Vapor play.
That was very aggressive.
That was very aggressive, and if it was something else, I don't know. Oh, there's Gitu Encampment.
But that's good news for Fabian, right? Fabian has 1 mana up, so this was the turn when Filip could resolve something like Avalanche Riders, which would have been perfect.
That would be amazing.
And he still keeps playing lands, so that's starting. This is the phase where this is the breathing space that Tomáš talked about.
Yes, exactly. Because you need to kind of
wait, is that
Wasteland and Stifle?
Okay.
Well, which is old rule with Wasteland against Stifle. You play it in his upkeep.
To tap him out.
Yes, to tap him out. Even if there's an answer, you tap him out. Or when you fetch and you're expecting him to have Stifle, if you feel you need to do it, do it in his upkeep at least.
Yes. That is these small details. Really
I think maybe he felt like he wants to attack, but with Gitu Encampment, now they are discussing whether he can tap it to be 3/3. But Gitu Encampment is first strike, so this is still a turn when he can go for it.
Yep, because the Mishra when it animates itself, it cannot. It's a creature. It's a summoning sickness. It cannot be tapped for 2
so strong.
but he is just going to go for Pillage, I believe. It's a bit of a challenge for us. Like with every card that Filip plays, we are like, okay, I'm putting my money on Pillage.
I only understood it's a Pillage because it's double red.
Okay. I had no idea with the Wasteland that art like that existed. Rishidan Port, I think this one I've seen before. Gitu Incumbent, maybe. Pillage, yes. But...
Yeah, and you don't even know that. I think with these editions, with something like... still hasn't learned that. But if you... with like a Lord of the Rings sets, they even make like special cards, which are like Caracas
with different name, but
there's a different name on it, and there's just a small name beneath it.
Yeah, that is. I'm gonna say that is a Jackal Pup. What do you say?
It's Mock Fanatic, right?
I was close. It looks more like Mock Fanatic, I guess. How do you feel, by the way, about wastelanding the Dust Bowl instead of the Mishra's Factory?
I don't like it. But I was saying something else about Lord of the Rings, so I didn't have time to react to it. But honestly, yes, I mean, Dust Bowl does nothing really.
Dust Bowl eats the Gitu encampment in response to like a Stone Rain. You can sacrifice and kill the... But like, you have to have 4 mana.
You need to have 4 mana up, so I'm not sure about it.
And now Mishra can be animated and block, right? So that spells some kind of trick from
his Lightning Bolt, I guess.
Or if he blocks the Gitu encampment...
No, he took it.
He took it. All right. I mean, makes sense because this play telegraphs from Filip's side, I have something to kill your Mishra.
Yes. Or I don't have anything and I'm just going to bluff.
Sure. But like, what are you gonna accept that risk that you're just gonna lose a third of your lands?
Yes.
Right there.
It's almost like casting Pox.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a card that we never see, and it's a shame.
I think it is definitely in some of the deck lists of some of the people that play today, but... Okay, more land destruction. Fairy Conclave should go to the bin, says Filip.
I would kill the Mishra, honestly. Oh, he's
Monolith. Okay, Monolith anyway, but then, well, I mean...
But then you can swing at least.
Okay, now we're gonna see if it's a Jackal Pup or a Mock Fanatic based on... Okay, 1 light down. Okay, it's confirmed. It is a Mock Fanatic, yes.
It's a Mock Fanatic.
Okay.
But I sometimes feel it's like a roulette when he just slams on the table like the Pillage, and then he's thinking which land to destroy. It seems to me like that.
Do you think so? Like he takes a bit of a time.
Yes, he was like wasting the Mishra, and then he tried to destroy another land.
So that would be Wooded Foothills.
Wooded Foothills.
Philip sacrificed it, and none of the Fabian's lands went to the graveyard. So.
Mountain.
I feel like Filip is kind of running out of gas here, right? 4 lands on Fabian's side. He's comfortable. He has 2-man lands.
It's kind of thing. Even if you now destroy a land, so what? Right? Like I think when Control has like 4-5 mana, he's fine. He's fine then.
But that's again an attack from
was
Filip.
Strange. He was targeting like the Fairy Conclave, just much weaker, much weaker than is like the Mishra.
So bolt the Mishra.
Another
counter spell. Very nice. 7.
Another bolt. Okay,
that is another bolt.
You
Yeah.
go.
Wow.
Okay, now I think Fabian is out of cards.
Okay. So Fabian takes 3. No. Fabian has a lot of cards. Filip is out of cards.
Yes, Filip is out of cards.
Or no, Filip has like 1 card at least. I can see in the top left corner over there.
Yes.
Do we have here? That is a Parallax Tide, yeah. Okay.
Maybe it wouldn't be bad to have that Chain of Vapor. No, but he could counter it. Maybe he would take much more damage now. Like don't.
Yeah. Like the Gorima Lava Monster would do a lot of work since.
Yes. And now he's going to take what?
Okay, so you take 3 lands so that Filip does not have such an easy time casting his like 3 mana land destruction spells. Sure, like now he has to have a land and land destruction spell, so why not?
Okay, so...
But this is not the tide in the combo mode, this is the tide in just like, I'm gonna deny some of your resources for a bit now and just like hope that I buy enough time to play, Factor Fiction or something that would get him back into the, like, another Mock Fanatic, wow. If you're in Fabian's shoes now, are you willing to trade the Fairy Conclave for a Mock Fanatic at this point? At some point, you're gonna have to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
Okay. But Filip can shoot it before blockers.
Shoot it with the other one, exactly.
Okay. Oh, so he actually that would be like before blockers.
Now we can save it with
Force spike. Woo! That is great. I mean, it doesn't really achieve everything just yet, and he didn't. Okay, so he didn't shoot it with the untapped Mock Fanatic. I feel like there was one damage missed.
There was also a chance to save the Conclave with the Parallax Tide.
Okay,
but he would bring back 3 mountains. But the question is, how strong they are now. Like, if he has like 3 mana,
So now actually, I think Filip is like on Fabian's side. The problem is definitely not lack of lands. It's more like lack of.
And I think this is one of the issues with land destruction. Like, if you draw a land destruction spell now, like, that's so bad.
Yeah, well, if you draw island on Fabian's side, it's bad, right?
Yes, but you want to play island, right?
I know
if he draws mountain, it's bad. If he draws land destruction spell, it's bad.
That's true.
What I'm trying to say is, like, I don't know, 20 life draws and a third and like 25 that are kind of bad.
Like Grim Lavamancer is one of the best draws.
Yes, that's very
now he's going to Fabian is the one who needs to find an answer and find it soon.
Yes, and I think
Firebolt to the head.
Yes, and I heard that blue decks have problems with removing creatures.
Where did you hear that?
Yeah,
do you have like a secret source of information?
Yeah, that's what they told me when I was a little boy. Obviously, it's not true anymore.
In Premodern Magic, I would say it's still
true. Yes, in Premodern, that's where the world is still makes sense. 2 + 2 is 4 in Premodern, not in the other formats, of course.
In the other formats, 2 + 2 is Emrakul.
Something like that. It's 15 and 6.
Or just whatever. Okay, so we see it. You mentioned that blue has troubles answering creatures. Chain of Vapor is the go-to answer here. You don't like Grim Lavamancer, you bounce him back, and then you counter him, presumably. But that being said, Fabian is on... Okay.
So he's taking 2. Because he could... Maybe I'm wrong, right? But he could, like, in response, like, target, and in response play Chain of Vapor and sack.
No, but then the Lavamancer kills you. Like Filip has a Mock Fanatic and Lavamancer. He absolutely has to answer Force Spike. That is the reason why to hide one of Filip's lands. But now
my point was that you could target his lands.
Yeah.
In response, play Chain of Vapor on your deck.
Okay, and then bounce the Lavamancer. That would be very nice, actually. Okay, I agree. Yes, but it seems like
it was enough.
Yeah, Filip had the Firebolt in his graveyard. He had the Mock Fanatic. He managed to push through enough damage.
It's funny that Fabian, he had like the cards, but he like used them in a different order, not together, and so on. So he was not able to get what he wanted. If he destroyed 5 lands of his opponent permanently, probably the game would look differently as well.
It would still be of Mock Fanatic, which could it would not answer there was Lavamancer and Fanatic. We see
I see Disc and Pyroclasm.
Nevernal's Disc.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about the blue deck, but black-wise, I think you maybe Pyroblast.
Yeah. That's your place at the Pyroblast.
Genius. So you bring Pyroblast.
That's the experience that you have. Yes. If you have mono blue versus mono red.
I think he should bring a Blue Blast and Hydroblast. And I have not seen his sideboard yet. But I think it's just like a 4 Pyroblast. I'm thinking, what do you cut? I think you cut something like a Firebolt. It seems like one of the weakest cards that you have. You want to keep all the creatures because he struggles. Oh, there you go.
Then we
Blue Elemental Blasts.
How only did you know that? That is.
But I think actually you just want to bring Dreadnought. Honestly, he doesn't have really. There's only one Dreadnought in the main deck.
One Dreadnought main deck. That is funky.
And there is no way how to. Because
Stifle?
You can't find it.
There's no way how to find it.
Because
you have Impulse.
I remember a long time ago in Legacy, people play like Trinket Mage, and you play 1 Dreadnought. That's why I had 1 Dreadnought before I sold it, and so you could get that 1 Dreadnought.
That is
but here you have just 1 Dreadnought without anything. But I think it's probably fine. Like you have 4 Stifles,
For sure, yeah. And like you have a vision charm in your sideboard, so you can have like 3 dreadnoughts and 5 ways how to blink them, which is a really unusual numbers right here. But against the Monarch deck, do you think that Filip is going to anticipate that and bring in some shatters?
No,
I would not see it coming. If I see like honestly, this kind of.
That's I'm surprised. The only one thing that bothers me is the island in right bottom corner, but other than that, everything's just fine.
I like it. It's like a hidden Easter egg, and like so I'm sure some opponents will appreciate it.
But the thing is that what some people do, they play that one like snow-covered island, and then the deck makes top 8, and then when people build the deck, they also put one snow-covered island just to make sure, because I don't know why, but.
You assume that the person who won knows what they're doing. Right?
It's like a friend of mine who played elves from Germany. He had Taiga in main deck because he wanted to cast one legendary creature that cost red. But later he cut the creature, but he forgot about the Taiga, and then he went to win the whole big tournament. And the deck list went on, and it was one Taiga. And then next week you saw people with Taiga top 18 because there was just like, well, there must be a reason, right?
Oh, you could think of it as like paying homage to the guy who, you know, it's like a gimmick. But okay, we'll see how many dreadnoughts we see, and how prepared Filip is for dreadnoughts.
I think that's a great sideboard option from Fabian, because like that's just like a free win if you have it. It's like a free win, and the point is, like we always discuss this, like threats are better than answers. So when you have answer, imagine how Filip must feel if he would bring shatters and he does not see dreadnought the whole game, and you have like 2 shatters in hand. That feels like
Force Spike your Lavamancer. Now that is a good answer to,
that's a good answer.
That. I like Force Spike.
Yes.
Standstill?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the perfect. This is how you
the dream scenario.
Yeah, this is how you want the game to go. You're on play.
That's also why Force Spike is not Daze. That's also the reason.
Okay, sure. Because then you cannot play Standstill turn 2 if you Daze. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But I think other than that, like obviously Daze is so much more superior card to Force Spike. But I think this was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think I love Standstill, and I played a lot with it, like in Premodern, outside Premodern. And one of my favorite things about Standstill is that many people don't know how to play against it.
Like when to crack it,
when sometimes you want to play straight away, sometimes you don't. For example, if Filip has like 3-4, I mean, I'm not sure how many lands Filip has, but I think like 3. So I think kind of fine, like just to play all lands. Because
and like wait it out.
Yes, yes. But because these control decks, they play like 2-3 lands more than you, or 4.
Yeah.
But that's not guaranteed.
How about Ghetto Encampment though?
Exactly.
Like Wasteland Ghetto Encampment. If your opponent plays Standstill and you see those in your hand, you're like, be my guest. Yes, yeah, I can play this game.
Or in Premodern, when your opponent plays Standstill and you are Rock, you play next 4 land drops, and the 4th one is Dust Bowl.
And the 2 before are Treat of Villages.
Is that something like that? Yeah, no, it's
even without that,
it can backfire very easily, especially I would say in Premodern, when man lands are at their best. Like I think no other format has so many man lands. Maybe some of the new formats when the man lands are super strong, but I mean here they're at their best, and the Mishra's Factory is still like the strongest and most unbeatable. The one that can attack turn 2.
Okay, there we go. So the Standstill gets cracked. Grim Lavamancer is a good card to like play when your opponent
is starts out.
Force Spike. Well, your opponent already played 1 Force Spike. I like this spot. Like you, I don't know if you want to play. If you had an untapped land instead of the Ghetto Encampment, if you want to play the untapped land to play around the Force Spike here and then play Ghetto Encampment next turn. Okay, blast. Well, that solves it. Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, it's obviously a question. But maybe for Filip, the possibility was just to attack with Ghetto Encampment.
Oh, you mean like just play lands and
and go for it, because how was Fabian? Okay, here's Wasteland, so
that would have not.
But he only has 2 and 1 Dust Bowl. Of course, Filip does not know it.
Yeah,
but I think there's Richard board in his hand. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the regime part.
Yeah. So
Standstill is dangerous from Fabian's side. Like, look at Fabian played Standstill, and the next 3 lands that Filip played.
did he target Wasteland, or am I just dreaming?
I hope he did not target Wasteland. Okay. Very conclave.
I was looking over there.
No, that would not go very well.
That would not go well. But again, I don't know what Filip Hahn's was, but if he had like, say, 2-3 lands, and he had some lands that do business, like Richard and Porto, I'd probably not crack it. I'm just like, show me. Show me what you have, because he has a lot of reactive spells.
Yeah.
And they can, and exactly.
I agree.
Like,
I
you
agree.
play Stencil,
You want to see, like there's a chance. Maybe
you go
it doesn't
to 4
work,
lands,
but
and
like,
then you just don't draw any lands.
There's no harm in trying it. There's no
Yes.
harm in trying it. Yeah, I've seen a lot of players crack their own Standstill just because when they played it, it didn't work the way they wanted. So yeah, maybe this was the chance to just see it. It wouldn't have worked out, as we know, because Wasteland, Fairy Conclave were 2 lands that were in Fabian's hand. But
yes, but again, we don't know.
Main. Okay, I like that. That is main phase Factor Fiction to play around the Blast. I like that.
Cool.
Filip is tapped out. There's not really much he can do to punish him. And so you just go for it. I love it. Because lands are very important as well here. So I mean, I don't know how many cards Fabian has in his hand. So that he
Seems like
after
one or 2.
But he drew 3 from Standstill, so it must be more. But like, I like it a lot.
Because another thing with Standstill is the worst thing you can do is to like let your opponent to use all the cards well. Even if you like crack Standstill, do it end of turn with like Lightning Bolt. So he can when he's on 7 cards, so he has to discard something. He's not going to
maybe. Yeah.
So try to do it like that. But if he's on 3 cards, you break it, he goes to 5, he kills your spell, then he plays another Standstill. That's like the best way how to lose. And it's obviously very frustrating when this happens to you, but I think there is a way how to do it.
I would say that the one thing that I like about Standstill is that it gives you a lot of options both to play it and to play against it. Like it's not a simple card to
It kind of changes the game. And before we had mechanics like Monarch or things like that, it was like sub game. Like Factor Fiction is a little sub game. But Standstill could influence a big part of the game. Like turns to come.
So we have, that is a juicy target.
3.
Yeah, 3 cards. Seems like Fabian does not have to discard.
There's Wasteland. For Filip.
Okay, now you can Wasteland the Wasteland. Yeah, now is a good moment to do it.
And then I'll play Destroy Land.
Yeah. If he eats the or Lava Monster, or Fanatic is an answer to the bone tap.
Yes, and now he can tap with Rishadan Port.
Yeah.
He taps the Fairy.
Oh, all good. Like, this all checks out with me. If you're Fabian, you're gonna think twice about playing that Standstill now.
But it's beautiful, isn't it? Like it's this classic like mono red versus
blue.
Yes. Like when you are like when you're starting with Magic, you couldn't have like you didn't have the mana, so you were like, no, I just like mono. Because
and I understand that Wizards have eventually shied away from land destructions because it's not necessarily like fun, but I think it's part of Magic. Mana is part of Magic. Having your mana blown up, sure, why not?
No, I think it's good. And I was just talking about it with Martin the previous round, when I feel like that's one of the big appeals for me for Premodern is that the mana is just not for free, not at all, and you have to really like everything can cost you, like every colorless land and even like basics are not for free because then you just can't cast your spells. And so it's a big alchemy.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm curious how. So it looks like Filip has 2 cards in his hand. The what we can see all the way on the left, and I'm sure Fabian has a lot more. And he's like, his foot is firmly on the gas pedal, which in his case means just playing land and saying go. That's how control decks accelerate. But I like Fabian's position.
Yes, but Yes, but I think Filip has some gameplay, so he definitely should be now attacking. He should start attacking because like when your opponent is 19 life, it's too comfortable.
Yep.
For that deck. So the problem is that I think the game is taking now so long that Fabian will get the cards that he needs.
He's playing another Factor Fiction. Look at that. And
Dreadnought.
Okay. I was kind of hoping that Fabian would not show him the Dreadnought and like kill him with Mishra's Spectre. Oh, I mean, for Fabian's side. But now the secret is out.
Yes.
So
you put the Dreadnought and Stifle on the same pile?
Yeah, sure. It's a combo. It should go together. Like, why would you separate them? You monster.
Obviously, I think you have to put like Stifle and the Charm on one pile and Dreadnought on the other.
Yeah.
And then probably with Dreadnought you...
Okay, that is a lot of respect for Dreadnought that we see there.
But if you do it like that, you can never win. How can you win in a million years when you...
Oh my god, so Fabian wants to... He clearly has the second piece of combo, and he just wants to... He wants to be done with this game. He's like...
to Filip. He knew what he was doing.
He saw it, yeah. So Fabian is like, okay, I don't need any of this nonsense. I'm just, let's just finish this game right here.
Okay,
there's Dreadnought.
Into Stifle.
Yeah, and he can play Standstill after the
Get out.
Like, okay, maybe I have something better than Mishra's Factory post Standstill.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would obviously tap the, have the basic untapped, but it's just a minor thing.
Is Maze of Ith legal? No, it's not.
No, I meant like... Did you want to cover up with like Blue Blast?
Oh yeah, sure.
Blue Blast and hand, so he could like Wasteland. But
Well, it's like...
It's just a small thing. Because Filip is, I'm afraid, going to die.
Yeah. So... See, I have a hard time seeing how Filip would come back from this.
Yes, but we have a third game. I always want to see games.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, in this spot, I would probably wait for him to activate and then tap, because he has all the mana.
Okay. Like tapping the land in his
tapping, especially when he
too much.
But he's going to attack twice with Dreadnought. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's not even trying.
Yeah.
I think Filip, the only answer he probably had was like pyroblasting the Stifle. But he does not. I don't think he has an answer for the Dreadnought.
Yeah, looks like it.
That's the hesitation before scoop.
It's
like you double checking everything.
Why me? Before scoop. Yeah. Well, that seems like just prolonging the inevitable.
Yes.
You're not stealing 16. Then you have to deal with a blocking Mishra's Factory first.
Oh, he has Pyroblast in hand.
Okay, but...
What is he doing?
No, the Dreadnought's just gonna,
of course.
smash through and, he's not...
Sure.
Yeah. Bolt? Sure. 13.
How many times somebody tried to stifle standstill triggers?
More than once for sure. Like the thing is, how many times a single person has stifled?
But I even had a situation that we were about to deck each other.
Yeah.
And it was I play instant. No, I play instant.
How does that work then?
No, the last trigger, it triggers, and then when it resolves, you sack it, and the other one will draw.
So sacrificing is not part of the.
No.
It's.
No, it triggers that you do it. So I play end of turn, and he's like, "No, I play end of turn. No, I play end of turn."
No,
and
please, you draw.
And you even play play even disenchant target and standstill. You just want him to draw.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, we have the equalizer here. The match is 1-1. Fabian won with Dreadnought, which is something that we said might happen. Now, I'm curious if Filip boards in his shatters. I think he has to. It also destroys Mishra's Factory, which is there's not a completely dead
that's the thing. That's the thing I had in mind. So he has two shatters. I mean, you bring them.
Yeah, you bring them in. Right.
It's funny. There's that Nevinar's disc.
Well, as an insurance against standstill, if you manage to land it first, but
very likely against for spike.
I know.
Yes. Well, but a beautiful shatter. I don't think I've ever seen this.
This isn't like I think it had first this image like Kamigawa, and then it was reprinted. This is like a core set shatter.
Yeah. But I mean this shatter we have on the screen.
Oh, you mean
which
that
is like
one?
alpha or beta? Or
I'm surprised you have not seen that one. That's a classic.
I've never seen this one.
I guess it's not a card that gets played in Legacy.
No.
Surprisingly.
No. Well, Disenchant doesn't get played in Legacy, but I know it.
Well, never.
But I remember
never in history of Legacy.
One of my favorite when I was reading the old Legenda, which is like a magazine. We had like a Magic magazine that we read, many years ago. And I remember reading all these reports, not knowing like most of the cards, right? But I still read it because I was so like into it, and and I remember there was like three-page report from a big tournament.
Yeah.
And almost at the end, he was like, and then he cast Disenchant, and then in the brackets, Disenchant does. Oh, you don't know what Disenchant does, and you read thus far?
Seriously, they how did they know?
Yeah,
they were trolling you pretty badly.
Yes, I knew what Disenchant does, but I didn't know all the other cards. But yeah, so.
Okay.
Cool. So I think you have to bring Shatters. It's good against Mishra's Factory, and Mishra was kind of hindering his like attack possibilities.
It's a good blocker, 3/3 blocker.
Yes,
that's no joke. And then Fabian, I suppose, is fine with what he has, right? Like it worked once. Why wouldn't it work again?
Yes, we will see. But for sure, Filip would like to have like obviously turn 1 play, and honestly. Turn 2 like 2 Mock Fanatics, turn 1 like Grim Lava Monster, turn 2 Mock Fanatics.
So we go the full burn plan with Stone Rain just as a way to slow down.
He doesn't really have a way. Fabian does not really have a way how to stop it, and then you can't even play Standstill if he has like 3 creatures, even if they are 1/1s. And Grim Lava Monster beautifully controls the manlands as well. So
a piece of Magic wisdom says that Standstill is worse on the draw than on the play.
Oh, really?
It's it's like one of those little things that you learned.
Shouldn't we publish a book?
I think we should. So that was okay. So that was a fetch main phase to play around Stifle.
Yes.
Sure. I think Fabian must have been like waiting for the 1-drop, and then very relieved it didn't come.
Oh,
that is a Blackwise.
Blackwise.
That's Blackwise? Cool. Sure. Yeah,
that's cool.
That's like one more reason to crack your opponent's Standstill.
No, I crack it. No, I crack.
I don't think it's gonna go that far with just Blackwise, but
that's actually a super cool card, Blackwise, because suddenly everything what Fabian wants to do with his life, having like a lot of cards in hands, it seems big bad. And
there's no turn to Dreadnought, which I think would have been like that would just shift the gears of the game completely. But now we are very much in the double Blackwise game.
In Mana League. But I'd really like to see something like Rishadan port and just try to slow down the game.
Fabian doesn't seem to have a third land, so no Stone Rains, nothing like that just yet. But also Fabian
doesn't have a third.
Filip, sorry. Fabian might have a third land for his sake. I hope that he does. It seems like he does. Yeah. That's
and he has Typhon and Hydroblast. I'm sure.
Okay. Yes. Now it's Shatter or Bust, right?
Yes.
Also, he managed to conveniently empty his hand.
Exactly.
Likewise, he's playing 3 1-drops.
Yes, that's why something like Rishadan port or something like that would feel pretty good, because like you try to really slow it down. You want to play this like draw and go game. You don't want to give your opponent to play like some kind of counter spells. But unfortunately for Filip, Fabian just had it.
One thing that I'm thinking of, Pillage can also get the Dreadnought.
That's true.
But that is actually, it's a pretty big upgrade from just Stone Rain to Incinerate. Oof, how much damage are the Blackwises dealing? So that's 8. How?
I think now nothing.
Not nothing. No, then it's over. I think you just take 12 and then you take 12 again. And you're done. Like what else can Filip do? Wow, this game was brutal. Like Filip came prepared for a marathon, and Fabian just like said, "Actually, we're doing sprint here.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, like you." Nice cards you have there, but not for this game. That is brutal.
Yes, but yes, definitely Dreadnought is one of the most defining cards of the whole.
Oh yes, for sure.
Incredible.
4 mana. Oh my god! Main phase Dust Bow. Half
The
of your
rolls,
lands.
how rolls, and she like
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. So that it.
I think he.
Yeah,
Well, he didn't have a shatter and a land last time.
Yeah,
Now he needs
so
land
now he
and a
needs
shatter.
both.
And okay,
Wasteland.
he drew wasteland, but
That's it.
that's probably it.
Yeah, can you do like... Yeah, well, that is just like... Make it a little bit more... Make the life totals a little bit more equal, and then there's the handshake. Okay. Feels like we had 2 very different matchups. Game 1 and then game 2 and 3.
Yeah, it felt like 2 different matches.
Yeah, it feels like Filip has a good matchup against Control. Unfortunately, he played against Control in one of the 3 games, you know? Like, the other 2 he played against Stiflenot, so... Yeah.
Yes. That's just very tough to play against, because you need such a different answers to those things. But it was a good call. I didn't realize that Pillage can kill Dreadnought. It can be relevant. I mean, it was very clear he was signalizing that Pyroblast from round 1.
Yeah, right.
That he has it.
And nice play from Fabian that he actually waited the turn. So
he
that
waited
he
the turn.
Yeah.
That's why I was really hoping that he can have like Rishadan Port, because he was on 3 mana, so he got Rishadan Port and
then
Pyroblast.
Mountain. Yeah. That would have worked nice.
All right, so that's
so I think we have a lot of time. So I was wondering if we could talk about the metagame a little bit, actually, because we know what our top 8 most represented decks are, and we have this like little infographic that we wanted to show you, but maybe we're gonna wait for a bit for okay, give us 1 more second, and we're gonna try to make something work here. We'll get Ondra to get here, but okay, we're back here. Hi everybody. So the metagame. So I think we're gonna tell you what the most played deck is. We're gonna have a look at the most played deck. Yeah. I think honestly, like, no spoilers, but I think like the most played deck is not a surprise.
Yes, it's not a surprise. It's always the most played deck.
Is it? It's like,
I mean, with bigger events, it's always the most played deck. I would think.
So maybe let's have a look at it.
It's super strong.
It is
super affordable.
Drumroll, burn.
Burn, yes.
Yeah. You don't seem excited. How is that possible?
I don't really play that deck. I don't like it so much. I think it's very strong, and maybe I think it's good probably when like aggro deck is strong, but this is not like a classic aggro deck. It sometimes feels almost like a combo with, especially with Fire Blast.
Yeah,
they just a little bit push it over the top.
It's a cornerstone of the format, right? Like that's why you have life gain in the sideboard. That's
maybe
why
when we get Martin later back, we'll ask him about banning of Fire Blast. Maybe later.
Yeah. I think maybe more interesting than the fact that Burn finished first, which it does usually in the big tournaments. It's fairly accessible, and it's just an archetype, you know, like by itself. Is 12%. Do you think it's like, is it the number that you would have guessed? Like basically every 10th deck, a little bit more than every 10th deck is Burn deck.
I think, yeah.
That would be about the right number.
I think
right?
sounds about right. Yes. I mean, if I say 10 or 13, makes.
I think it's like, it also shows that the format is very diverse. When the most represented deck has 12% of the metagame, that's not a lot. So it means if there's like 8 rounds, maybe you play against one, maybe sometimes you don't even play any. That's fair. I think it makes for a nice experience that like it's not that repetitive. Yes. One thing that I wanted to do as well is like talk about a couple of niche cards.
Can I have a personal question?
Yes.
Do you like playing against Burn?
Oof, that is tricky. I think it just depends on the deck. Like, am I prepared? It depends on the matchup. I would say I don't mind. I don't love taking 6 from a Ball Lightning, but it's something that I'm willing
like
to
ball
put up
lightning
with.
is the least of my concerns because I think ball lightning is just super fair.
Yeah.
Because like you can deal with it with
Yeah,
creature removal.
sure, yeah.
But if you play like mid-range decks,
Yeah.
and it sometimes feel like such an uphill battle.
Like one thing that I don't love about it, I think, is that it often goes the game goes often to like they have one draw, you're at 3, and they just like flip the top card of the deck. If it's a burn spell, you die. If it's not, so it's like it feels very much a lot of those games
and
that
it can't be
are
lightning
this
Helix.
close.
Oh my god!
What?
It can't be lightning Helix. Oh my god!
Oh no, it can be. Oh my god, Lightning Helix. Yeah, for fans of the coverage history.
So now. Number 2.
But before we go to number 2, I just wanted to briefly talk about like some niche cards, and I'm gonna ask you. We have like 2 cards here that are frequently or like sometimes played in Burn main deck, and I just want to ask you like which one of them you like more. So if you're like, imagine yourself playing Burn. I know it's a very far-fetched idea, but like just for a second, imagine that, and you have to choose between 2 cards to play main deck. Is it gonna be Price of Progress or Urza's Bubble?
Yeah, I don't know nothing about it, but
You played against Burn enough times that I'm gonna put you in this situation, and I'm gonna ask.
I would probably go for Price of Progress. I would go for Price of Progress because it's like some decks just can't really beat it. It's just so strong. But of course, like there are a lot of decks like what we just saw now, Mono Blue. When you just face islands, it doesn't do much. But even against those decks, they have
like
some...
blue 4 with manlands.
Yes, they have some manlands, so I would probably go Price of Progress. I also feel like Bubble. Imagine you keep like one lander with like 2 bubbles.
Yeah.
So you...
Yeah.
So you need like 3 draws or something like that. You think, oh, for sure I will draw.
Of course, yeah. What
Of
are
course
the
I will
odds
draw land.
that
I think it can also make you keep some sketchy hands. So.
Yeah, I think like the argument for Bubble is that I think that the Burn decks typically have some weak last like a couple of cards to fill in the deck list, because there's let's say 30 cards that are staples, they're very good, and then you have to do something like Shock or Steel of Fire, and it just feels underpowered. So I think the Bubble is like kind of part of the way, like you shave maybe 1 land, 2 lands, you shave a couple of bad cards, and then you have more of the good
When you shave
cards.
2 lands, that means you play 18, 17, and
18,
4
19,
bubbles.
I would say it depends. Okay. That's also very much up for discussion.
Fair point. For sure. I don't think we will sort it out, but maybe let us know in the chat.
Let us know
how do you feel about it.
Yeah, Urza's Bubble or Price of Progress, which card you like more in the Burn decks. So anyway, we maybe we can have a look at number 2. Number 2, I gotta say I was surprised by. Like number 2 is Parallax Replenish with 8% of the metagame. That is quite a lot.
Quite a lot. Considering the deck some time ago, I would feel like a year ago. I don't say it did not exist, but it was just very, very niche. Only few people had the deck and they were playing it.
Yeah.
And as I said before in our opening segment, I think that's a deck that finally it's getting its recognition because it's so strong.
I agree.
So strong, and it does so many things, and it feels so unfair. Like, exile all your creatures all the time, and in the meantime I kill you, and you can't kill my enchantment.
Yeah, it's like the thing that I like about it is it's a combo deck that also like does something when it's not going off, and it can go off incrementally. First, you just like maybe the first replenish brings back three cards. I have not won yet, but like the replenish deck hasn't, but it's where we're moving forward, and then you do it again, and suddenly it's like it just adds up. So multiple replenishes in your hand are not dead cards.
Yes. And if it was just like I kill all your creatures, but I'm also killing you with those enchantments, you can't really. You have to kill Opalescence first. And if I have double Opalescence, I think then you just can't really. You have to have Wrath or something like that.
Yeah, like double Opalescence, Parallax.
And the worst thing of all, well, there go your lands. So good luck with answering my board when you don't have any lands.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. It is a deck that can punish for sure. And I'm also gonna say that the Czech Premodern Championship in May was won by Václav Alt, who was playing Parallax Replenish. So I think maybe that's when the deck got maybe some more recognition and respect. And
I also would think that it's not the easiest deck to pilot. I know that Václav has been playing it for some time. And so he knows what he's doing, because I think, again, mana can be very tricky. Like how you tap, also how you sideboard, what you do when you can go like to some sort of card disadvantage, you know, how you sequence it. Can you take one more? I think there are quite a few things to do. I think they also play Ancient Tomb.
Yes,
so you have to you have to be careful about your life total. But definitely, if you play that well and you're a little bit lucky, I think it's a powerhouse.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. And with Ancient Tomb, you can kind of go crazy with tap it, play Frantic Search, tap it again. Like if you want to take damage, then you definitely can.
And that's the thing, that like in theory, right? Turn 2. You can like go off with like double Frantic Search.
Okay, like at Arcar Waste, Ancient Tomb.
Oh well, you can have like City of Traitors to keep it low, but then you can you do? Yes, you can do that. You get the mana, you play Frantic Search, you discard, you play Replenish.
Maybe not the biggest replenish ever, but it can get you somewhere.
Yeah. Well, you'll be drawing 4 and discarding 4, so you can have like 2 or 3.
All right, so two cards that I wanted to ask, and actually I think this stands for 2 slightly different directions that you can take the deck, and I've seen both of those cards main deck, usually not at the same time. One of them is Mana Leak, the other one is Impulse. So, you know, either you're like really digging for the combo piece, or you're trying to react a little bit more, and I'm curious which approach you like better.
Like you digging with Attunement,
yes,
which in Czech we call Tuna.
Tuna,
that's
sure.
That's
very fitting nickname.
Yes. Yeah. And then you have a Frantic Search, so you have 8 of those cards. And the question is if you need some more. I would think so, that you want to go at least to like 10 to have that like consistency. But as we said before, even the cards on their own, they are quite good on their own already. I kind of like Mana Leak.
Mana Leak.
Yes.
Oh, so you think what you're saying is you don't need more ways how to look for your combo piece?
Yes, I'm not so sure how many slots there are, because for sure we probably have to see some kind of a deck list, but for sure, like with Burn, you have something that's stock.
Oh yes,
right?
Yeah, like you have like 30 cards maybe, or somewhere around that number, which are just set in stone.
So maybe you can have both. You can maybe have like 9, 10 way how to dig with like Impulse. I'm not sure if that deck plays. Do they play Fact or Fiction?
I would say no, because you have a lot of 4-drops. You have like the Parallax, Titan,
you probably have too many. You have too many.
I think
but it sounds like a card that works pretty well, right?
I guess, yeah, because it puts your stuff in the graveyard. I think it would, but the curve is the issue.
Yes,
here.
The thing I like about Mana Leak, first of all, you can cast it, because of course you have a lot of Parallax, so Mana Leak seems good, better than Counterspell for sure. And second thing, sometimes you just need to survive that one turn, just to make sure that they don't like Armageddon you or do something nonsensical before you had your fourth mana and you go off somehow. So I kind of like Mana Leak.
I would say me too. I would say one strike against it is that sometimes, or quite often, you need to do stuff on your own turn. So you need to tap out Sorcerer Speed, Attunement, or so the Parallax enchantments, and so then, yeah, it's kind of.
But I think that generally, like, you don't really have 2 mana things, right? That's why you often go like Ancient Tomb turn 2 and you start Attunement.
Sure.
Yeah. So like if you play like Island into Adarkar Waste and you have nothing to do. You can either, maybe in future they will play those artifacts, but I think that's usually like a blank turn. You can only play like Seal of Cleansing.
Yeah. The turn 2 is pretty weak.
So that turn 2 is weak, so you can go there.
Yeah, I would say in general I would see you as more a Mana Leak player than an Impulse player. So like I think this fits, but I think I also agree. I think I like Mana Leak because it can also sometimes protect your Replenish. You know, like it is pretty universal in that deck.
But I think that deck has also very strong sideboard against control decks because they have like Orange Chance, Mana Short, and that's like I played it. I played with like Standstill against Replenish, and it felt so frustrating. This is like Mana Short end of turn. You counter it. Okay, I untap Orange Chance. Do you counter it? Well, then you can't counter anymore, and I'm just going to kill you.
That feels about right. Yeah. So I think you can do one more deck before our next round starts. So let's have a look at the 3rd place here, and we have Dead Guy.
Everybody's favorite.
Yes, that's
Dead Guy Ale.
Dead Guy Ale in 3rd. This was actually after the 2nd place. It's becoming quite close. So we have like a couple of decks on 7%, but Dead Guy Ale with the most decks.
I mean, Dead Guy Ale is like decent deck, all-around deck, struggles with mana. Like we talked about it a bit. It's off color, so it has to come.
It's like the enemy
colors,
right,
yes.
Right.
So that's bad. Also, that guy sometimes wants to play like for a longer game with like arena, trying to draw some cards. Their creatures are quite weak. They're small. They don't do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So you can take 3-4 turns of hits from some of his creature, and you are still totally fine. You're still on like 12 life, 10 life. They have Gerard's Verdict, closest to him to Turak you can get in this format.
Sometimes better.
That's
against
very
burn.
yes. You can target yourself, and so I think people have the deck. It's also a very cheap deck. I don't think there are any expensive cards.
No, I don't think so.
And it's cool. It's sweet. I like it.
Yeah. It's like the mid-range deck. It's like everybody's favorite.
But except for
mid-range.
Burn and Replenish, which are like S tier whatever decks, they belong to the strongest category. I think this would be like tier 2.
Okay, so it seems like we're gonna have feature match soon, or
in about
not
8 minutes.
Maybe we still have some time. Okay, that's good. So the two cards that I wanted to ask here. Actually, again, I think that they kind of distinguish taking the deck in two different directions. And because we've seen, I think especially lately, we've seen versions of that guy Ale that are slower, more controlling. So they don't maybe even play Nantuko Shade. Then instead they go for a longer game. So I would say I wanted to ask about Eternal Dragon versus Nantuko Shade. I think these two cards don't really belong into the same deck, and you can see... Yes. The guys that have a lower curve and then more controlling ones.
Yes. I mean, my problem with Nantuko Shade is that Nantuko Shade just... it's so much mana you kind of have to put into it, and it's relatively easy to destroy. Like Mock Fanatic is everywhere, and there is not a realistic way that you can protect Nantuko Shade unless it's really late game from Mock Fanatic. So that would be my problem. I was also one of the cards I thought you might mention is Decree of Justice.
Sure, I think that's in the same deck like Eternal Dragon, right? Like that's the big mana.
And we also one of our videos, one of our longest matches ever.
I enjoyed that.
It was like Eternal Dragon versus Allied Strategies. So if you want to check who drew more cards, you have to. You can find it on our channel, which kind of brings me. By the way, I don't want to dodge your question. If you still have not subscribed, and if you're still not following our channel, we have this is not just the Twitch channel you're following right now, but we have a YouTube channel where we put. Yes.
Yeah, we do matches on camera where we jam all kinds of sweet decks against one another, and then show a little bit of the sideboarding and comment a little bit on the matches. And yeah, we tried. I don't know if it was a crazy idea or whose idea was it, but like two extremely controlled strategies against each other, and it was a long match.
Yes, it was a long match. And who won? Well, we're not going to tell you.
Yeah.
You have to check. You have to check the video. But I think it's really worth it.
Yeah.
Especially if you have like 2 hours, 2 spare hours.
Yeah, like if your
kids are sleeping,
you don't have to get up to work the next day.
Yeah.
So I understand that when we have Eternal Dragon versus Nantuko Shade, you would go with the Eternal Dragon.
Yeah, I would go for Eternal Dragon. The problem is that super late game, and that's the problem that sometimes this deck wants to have Dark Ritual into like Spectre.
No.
When it
gets
gets
killed, different version.
When you get killed, you don't have any follow up. So,
but does Dark Ritual even get played in the same version like Eternal Dragon? I think it's like these two decks are just like kind of like getting into two very different archetypes.
But if you do play Eternal Dragon, you play like Angel. You play Exalted Angel.
Right.
What are the other creatures that you're running?
Oof.
Is it like Phyrexian Rager or
maybe?
I don't know. Do you have like Spectral Links?
I think I haven't seen that card for a long time.
And that's a shame. Everybody should be ashamed.
It is a shame. Yeah.
All the
everybody try playing Spectral Links at least once. Yeah,
it's so good.
It's like a pet. Yeah. One more question: would something change if instead of Nantuko Shade, I give you Withered Wretch? Especially considering what you see in the second place in our metagame breakdown, does it change the equation, or are you still very much on Team Eternal Dragon?
Yeah, I'm probably Team Eternal Dragon. Honestly, I see the advantages of Withered Wretch, but at the end of the day, even against Replenish, he just casts those cards. He will just cast those cards. You kind of need too much. You need like Duress into discard 2 into Wretch, and hope he's not going to like top deck somehow.
I mean, on the other hand, the guy does have a lot of discard, so like the Withered Wretch in this specific deck, it's, you know, it could do the work against Parallax Replenish, but
in many decks it's not so playable because of the double black. That's very restricted. I think. But yes, definitely it's a card, and it's certainly not incorrect to play that.
Right.
And
maybe not with Eternal Dragon, but like in the more lower curve kind of.
When I think about other cards against survival, it's quite decent. You know that you can take the squeeze.
Right. To break their engine
and try to like break their engine.
Yeah. And every now and then you just like randomly make sure that the burn deck doesn't have threshold for Barbarian Ring, or like it does like these small things. Graveyard is pretty important in Premodern, I would say, and like
honestly, I remember when Wretch was printed, everybody felt it's so strong.
Oh yes, right, yeah, it's so it seems like the feature match for round 3 is still not ready. We have some like the round has ended, but I think some matches are still playing. To wrap it up here with the Dead Gael, I feel like I'm a bit biased because I'm very much a control player at heart. So
you would go for Dragon as well.
I think so. Also, it's kind of my pet card. Like it feels good to like cycle for planes, bring it back, and it has value written all over it.
That pesky standstill player who thinks he can do you, and you just like, oh, I have Eternal Dragon. I will never miss a land drop in my life. You know? Good luck with you playing your land every time.
That's true.
But
if you have Withered Wretch, you can exile their Eternal Dragon.
And I think one more thing. I think we played it. We played it on our channel. We played that Gael against Dreadnought.
Yeah.
And that felt pretty good for that Gael. You know, you have all the discard in the world, all the removal in the world.
Yeah. All your removal stuff actually hits Dreadnought.
So unless he had like turn 2 nuts with like Gush Foil counter spell and phase out of your Dreadnought.
But of course he does.
Of course he does. But only in one game. You know, then
okay, I'll take that.
But I think that's pretty good because you really go slow. You go Duress, then you make him discard 2, and you slowly bring him down, and then he doesn't really have a way how to kill you. He only has like Meddling Mage, or he has Dreadnought, and Dreadnought really needs at least like obviously at least 2 cards. But more like 3, so you have at least 1 protection.
I agree.
And here you have Swords, you have Vindicate, you have I think that's if your meta is plagued by Dreadnoughts, I think this is maybe that's why also the Gael is so high. I think maybe number 1 reason, affordable and likable deck. People like to play these cards. They are very nice cards, even if they don't play Spectral Links. And then, but it's also good against Dreadnought.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so these are the top 3 most played decks here today: Burn, Parallax Replenish, and Dead Gael. We're gonna take a short break, and we're gonna see what the other 5 most played decks are. Probably maybe after the next round, and then after the other. And we're also gonna talk about some niche cards that you can play. Maybe you can, maybe you don't. And but we're gonna be back with feature match for round 3 in a short while, I would assume. So stay tuned and see you in a bit.